Hi everybody, this is Cheryl Richardson, and I'm here for our regular weekly Facebook Live coaching session. I notice I'm losing my voice just a little bit because I was teaching all weekend, teaching the Healthcare by the Sea retreat, so I've been talking a lot. And but I'll have a voice for this, I have no doubt. So I'm looking, there's Mr. Poupon, of course. Hey Kyle, welcome. Hi, everybody. So glad to be here with you, and I'll be taking your questions this time. I'll be doing coaching instead of talking about my next book. Kyle, I do want to say to you, that's Kyle Gray from Scotland, London, Scotland, Kyle. Kyle, I saw a video of you doing pull-ups. That was so impressive, I have to say. I think it was either on Instagram or might have been on Facebook, I don't know, but as a gal who does CrossFit, a very sane CrossFit gym, I might add, where we don't do anything crazy, we modify things. I watch people do pull-ups all the time, something I'm not able to do yet. So I'm really impressed when people can do it. And Kyle, I was so blown away when I watched you do it. Hi, yeah, hello everybody. Hi, Anne-Marie and Sarah and Helena and Heidi and Dawn and Elaine and Marilyn. Welcome everybody. I'm so glad to have you here with me. And I'm going to say right off the bat that, yeah, Kyle, let's go together. Actually, after I saw your video doing pull-ups, I don't think that will be happening anytime soon. Give me another year and then we can maybe do that. Although I know you're so loving and non-judgmental that we probably could be fine. I'd probably be okay. I'm going to invite you to post your questions early. You can just put a Q with your question next to it, and I will go ahead and answer them. I'm going to start in early with that, so I'll give you a few moments to do that. Just put the letter Q with your question, and that way it'll just be easier for me to find. We had the retreat this weekend, Healthcare by the Sea, and I co-led the retreat with Susan Dowdy, who is a women's nurse practitioner who specializes in women's health. She has a lot of experience with women and women's health, and it was a wonderful. It was just a wonderful event, and it was a great combination of. I guess if I were to sum it up, I would say that we all have a physical immune system that we want to keep strong and vibrant and healthy, so that we're able to fight off disease and we're able to thrive as we age, and we're able to stay active and engaged in life. We also have an emotional immune system. And when our emotional immune system is strong, we have higher levels of confidence, inner security, self-esteem. We allow better things into our life. We enjoy really deep and meaningful connections with others. We enjoy physical health because when your emotional immune system is strong, when you surround yourself with good people, nurturing people, when you're doing work that you love and that you feel fulfilled with, when you're living in an environment that makes you happy and nurtures you, when you are working in an environment that nurtures you and takes care of you, fresh light, fresh air, sunlight, when you feel secure because you're taking good care of your financial health, your physical health, they both feed into each other. So your physical health improves, your emotional health improves, and ultimately what happens is you've got a better chance at having a command central, which is the brain. You've got a better chance of the brain functioning in an optimal way. And when we're thinking healthier thoughts, when we're thinking happier thoughts, when we're filled with a sense of hope and joyful anticipation of the future, we naturally begin to attract to us better experiences, better jobs, more money. It's just, we're all energy and we're vibrating at different levels. This is not woo-woo, by the way. This is science. We know this now, that energy can't be created or destroyed. It exists. And we are these energy beings. We are tapped into this giant energy circuit. And what we do and say and think and feel is either elevating our energy or it's de-elevating, it's lowering our energy. And so the physical immune system and the emotional immune system go hand in hand. And really, I guess in some ways, that's what the retreat really looked at. We looked at a lot of physical health issues that humans face. I'm not even going to say women, humans face. Some of them were specific to women. But then we also looked at some of the emotional issues. I personally believe when it comes to health that everything starts in the energy field, and the body's the last place for stress to show up. So if you're under stress, if you're getting sick, for example, chronically sick, it means there's stuff going on in your life that you need to deal with so that the body doesn't have to ultimately pay the price and try and wake you up. Generally speaking, there's a lot of, I was going to say, I don't want to make a gross generalization. There are a lot of different factors that influence our health, but what we do to keep our immune system strong, both physically and emotionally, makes a big difference. So, and supports us in having good health. So that's what the retreat was about. And I learned a lot. I learned some really important things. For example, that I love sparkling water, carbonated water, and I drink it a lot. And I learned that it's actually not good to drink carbonated water because it's an irritant to the wall of the bladder, an irritant to the urethra. And if you find yourself drinking lots of sparkling water instead of just regular flat water or still water, you may find that you've got bladder issues that start to occur as a result of that. That was new to me. I had no idea. I also learned that when we go to sleep at night, the closer we get to midnight, after midnight, melatonin starts to drop. And so it's harder and harder to fall asleep and stay asleep the later the night goes. And it's a great argument for why we should go to bed earlier and go to bed at the same time or around the same time every night. Because in doing so and going to bed earlier, we give our bodies a chance to, take advantage of the melatonin that is available to us, and we're able to fall asleep and stay soundly asleep. I also learned that any kind of sugar that you have before going to bed, when you eat sugar or drink alcohol, let's say, anything, you ingest anything, because alcohol is sugar. When you ingest any sugar, about 4 hours after ingesting sugar or alcohol, blood sugar drops, and the brain automatically sends a signal to the body to wake up and to wake up, because it's like an alarm system goes off and says, uh-oh, blood sugar has dropped, something's wrong, wake up and deal with it. And so if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night with thoughts racing in your head or just having a hard time getting back to sleep, you may want to look at what you're eating or drinking 4 to 5 hours before you go to sleep. And I've tested that, and it's true, it works, and it was a great reminder. Also, Susan, who is just she's a wonder. Not only is she a great doctor with a beautiful bedside manner, I mean, she's a great nurse practitioner, no longer practicing, but with a beautiful bedside manner. She's also really into research, and she's really up on the current medical, physical health research. And, she talked about a study that just came out last week about how sugar feeds cancer cells, and it makes them grow. And so it feeds them, so it allows them to proliferate. So she just made such a strong argument for really reducing sugar, honey, anything sweet like that. All of the artificial sweeteners behave like sugar in the body. And the only one that is, she said she felt the most safe to eat was stevia, because it's a natural source of sweetener. So those were some of the pieces of information. There was lots more, and I hope to do another Healthcare by the Sea with her at some point. It really, Susan talked about how the body works. I talked about how the mind works and how our lifestyle choices impact our physical health. And we made a great team. I really enjoyed teaching with her, and it was a great reminder that so many of us need to learn the basics about how our body functions, because when you learn that, it's easier to make healthy choices. You understand why you need to make the choices you make. So, and Jessica's saying, I'm trying to quit sugar now. Susan also talked about the process of doing that. The first 3 days are the hardest. After 3 days, anything that you give up that isn't good for you, whether it's white flour or alcohol, sugar, After 3 days, it gets easier. And physiologically, by the way, 2 weeks of eating better and eliminating some of these things within 2 weeks, your body will dramatically show dramatic increases in health. Hey, Shelley. Hi, I'm glad you're here. Your body will, if you were to do testing of your blood, of your galvanic skin response, if you did testing of your cortisol levels, you would notice that your body has dramatically improved just in 2 weeks of eating better, more fruits, more vegetables, a lot less sugar. It's exciting to know that we can have a great impact on our body in such a short amount of time. Let me see, there was something else I wanted to say about that because somebody posted something that made me think of it. And I can't think of what it is, but it will come to me if it's supposed to. Anyway, all right, so here I am, and I am ready to support you with your questions. So as I said earlier, go ahead and put a Q in front of your question, and I'm going to just scroll back through, see what I can see here. I'm going to go back a little bit to the beginning. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. And what did I just see? I thought I saw hi, Cheryl from Hot and Spicy somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking about hot. No, there we go. From Hot and Spicy San Diego. Hey, Robin. Spicy San Diego, huh? And hi, Helen from Australia. Lorette, I'm honored to have you here, my dear. I really am. Okay, looking for questions. Oh, hi, Jonine from Costa Rica. One of these days I'm going to get down there. Okay. Great. So Julie says, Cheryl, I'm 55. I'll be 55 in December and still perimenopausal. I'm having heavy periods, but I need advice on the mood and lack of libido. Am I normal? This is challenging. Well, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nurse practitioner, but we talked about that this weekend. And Julie, I would recommend that you find a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor in your area. I don't know where you're from, but a naturopath is, goes to medical school for 4 years and is well versed in nutrition and the digestive system of the body, from the mouth all the way through, the colon, the elimination part of the body. So, and I can tell you that heavy periods often go along. It can be a symptom of the perimenopausal phase. There's a lot you can do, sometimes with the right food choices. I would recommend moods, libido, all of that. When the body's going through perimenopause, it's much like adolescence in some ways. The hormones are all over the place, up and down and up and down, and they can absolutely affect our mood, our libido, our all the systems of the body. The hormonal system. Our body's influenced by all of the hormonal systems of the body. I mean, our hormones influence every system in the body. That's what I want to say. So I would find a naturopath. If you go online, if you Google associations for naturopaths, I don't have that information with me, but I know that you can Google online and find out professional associations for functional medicine doctors or integrative. I think it's like the Society of Integrative Medicine. Naturopaths. I would find a naturopath in your area, somebody, or a functional medicine doctor, somebody who can treat you as a whole person. You don't just want to go and have issues of perimenopause treated. You want somebody who's going to be able to tell you the best way to eat right now, the best way to make lifestyle changes. What kinds of things can you do to help calm the body down as it goes through this roller coaster ride of perimenopause? You're going to come out the other side. You're going to feel a lot better, I promise you. And Chris Northrup, Chris Northrup has written Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, and The Wisdom of Menopause. I think both of those books are must-read books for every woman on the planet. They educated me so much about my body as a woman and about the stages of health, the stages of aging. And so, Julie, I would also recommend, let me make a note here, I'll put Chris's books in this post afterwards when I post the resources from the call. So I would check those out as well. I think it could be really helpful. Kathy says, I deal with anxiety and worry about its effect on my physical body. Well, I don't want you to worry, Kathy, but anxiety absolutely has an impact on our physical health, right? Because what happens is it keeps our cortisol levels elevated. And cortisol is a hormone that does things that, it's the fight or flight hormone, right? It makes our body feel like it's always on alert, that danger is lurking. And so it doesn't allow the brain doesn't function as well with elevated cortisol levels. The body retains fat with elevated cortisol levels. We have a hard time sleeping because you sort of live in this generalized state of anxiety. I would really encourage you to go to the Psychology Today website. There's a Find a Therapist section, and again, I'll post this after this coaching, Facebook coaching. I just wrote on myself. Find a therapist at psychologytoday.com. I would find someone who specializes in treating anxiety. Kathy, you deserve to have the support of you deserve the emotional support of a really good therapist who can help you deal with the anxiety and the worry. And that's a mind-body issue. We have to take a look at the adrenal system and what you can do to nurture your adrenal system to help it calm down. And you also need to deal with just emotionally and mentally what's going on that's contributing to the nonstop worrying and ultimately the anxiety. I will tell you this is an important little exercise for everyone, and it works. This comes from Andrew Weil years ago. Susan talked about it this weekend. It's a little breathing technique where you breathe in through the nose for a count of 4, and when you're breathing in, you want it to be deep, so you want to feel your belly expand, right? Expanding the belly, and then you hold the breath for a count of 7, and then you slowly breathe out through the nose for a count of 8. And when you do, you want to pull the belly button in towards the spine. So you really want to contract the stomach so that you're pushing air out of your lungs. So it's breathe in slowly through the nose for a count of 4. Hold the breath for a count of 7. And then breathe out slowly through the nose for a count of 8. Pulling the navel into the spine so that you're really expelling breath from your lungs. It's a great breathing technique to use during the day. When you breathe this way, Kathy, you automatically begin metabolizing cortisol. You automatically start calming down the body's adrenal system. You start calming down, you start to lower cortisol levels. And it's a great exercise to do for those of you who wake up in the middle of the night with lots of thoughts racing through your head. It will automatically just calm everything down. It makes it easier to fall asleep at night or to fall back to sleep at night if you wake up. And I practice it all the time during the day, especially when I'm driving. Sometimes I'll just tune in. And if I'm feeling anxious about something, or I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed with my day, or I'm feeling maybe I got my buttons pushed by something, or I'm, all of a sudden my to-do list is running through my head. I'm just sort of wired that way. I'll just start this 4, 7, 8 breathing. In for 4, hold for 7, out slowly through the nose for 8, pulling in the navel to the spine. And I promise you, you'll notice a difference. The trick is getting yourself to do it. That's what you really want to do. So Kathy, that and the support of a good therapist who specializes in anxiety and worry, and you'll be well on your way to feeling so much better. So let's see. Becky says, I recently lost my only son, 23, in a terrible car accident. I'm so sorry, Becky. I'm so sorry. I feel the loss physically. How can I keep from becoming stuck in the grief? I'm secure, healthy, financially sound, happily married, but missing him keeps me stuck in such a low vibration. First of all, Kathy, I'm Becky, sorry, not Kathy. Becky, I'm going to put you right in my prayer book, my red prayer book, you and your son, who I know is with you. I know he's all around you. Look, you lost him recently, sweetheart. It's going to be a while. It's just called the year of firsts, right? You go through the first year, and you experience the first of everything without your son. Now, you don't have to go through that alone. And I understand grief is physical. I have felt the physical loss of my father over this last year. I have felt the physical loss that sort of, it's like there's a vice around your chest, right? A vice around your heart where you just, there's a part of you that just wants to just completely fight against the, rail against reality, right? You want to rail against reality. Becky, you can't go through this alone, honey. You really need to get support. Some people do well with a grief support group. Some people do well with just one-on-one therapy. Somebody who is skilled, I would say skilled at helping a parent who lost a child. I'd love it to be somebody who really, really understands that experience specifically. I think that would be really incredibly helpful for you. You're going to get through this. I promise you. There's a book I'm going to recommend to you too. As a matter of fact, Becky, do me a favor and send an email to chris@CherylRichardson.com. That's CHRIS. I'm going to also put, it's a book called Answers About the Afterlife by Bob Olson. He runs Afterlife TV, which is both a website and afterlifetv.com, and he also has a Facebook page. He does tremendous work for people grieving, Becky, and his book, Answers About the Afterlife, I found to be incredibly comforting and helpful, and lots of people who have lost loved ones say the same thing. I have an extra copy of that book. I would love to send it to you. So if you send your name and address to chris@CherylRichardson.com, tell her that you and I communicated here. She'll know, and she'll email me, and I'll send a copy of that book to you. I'll also put Bob's information, the website, the book up on Facebook when we're done. And yeah, I see that some people are posting that they can certainly identify. Becky, you know, you might even want to talk to somebody here in the community who has lost a child. So be sure to read through these comments when I'm done, because if you're someone here who has been through the grieving process, and I'm going to say has come out the other side, although we never stop grieving those we love, right? Those we love are worthy of our grief. But if you've been through the process and you feel like you've integrated it more into your life so that you're not suffering as much, it might be really wonderful for Becky to connect with you. So Becky, you can go through and look at the comments here and see if there's somebody that you might want to connect with. All right. And I'm just, you're in my prayer book, and I pray for the people in this book. It's like one of my ongoing, I have a lot of people in this book, and I just wish you lots of healing on this journey of grief. It will change your life if you embrace it and welcome it in and get support, because this is not something we should go through alone. It will change you in the most profound and beautiful way, I promise you. And remember, your son is with you. I know he's with you. And ask him to give you very clear, visible signs that he's with you, especially when you need it most. Okay? All right, my dear. Let's see. All right, let me just scroll through and look at some of these questions here. Okay, I'm going to say the same thing to you, Heidi, that I said earlier about anxiety in terms of lots of stress. Now I'm getting physically sick. How do I change this as of now I have stomach issues? You have to look at what's causing you the stress in your life. This came up really clearly this weekend during the retreat, that too often, hold on, I'm going to take a sip of water. Too often, please hear this, everybody. As much as we have a medical system in this country that's sort of like a search and destroy mission, right? Like we search for illness. We have all of these doctors. One doctor handles the heart, one handles the ear, nose, and throat, one handles the skeletal system, one handles the gut or the bowels or the colon. We have a medical system that is designed to search for a problem in a specific area and deal with it. But the source of our illnesses is more holistic than that. We have to look at what's going on in our lives. And I would say 90% I think science now says 90% of all illnesses are stress related in some way. So it's no surprise that you're feeling it in your body. And your body is basically saying to you, Heidi, hey, let's take a look at what's going on in your life that needs to change so that the stress can lower and you can feel better. From my experience, so many of us aren't sleeping well. We've got way too much on our plates. We're trying to juggle a lot of responsibilities. We just need more simplicity. We need less to do. We need to be gentler and kinder with ourselves, but we need the space to be able to do that. I know I grapple with this all the time, and I'm forever looking at my life and saying, okay, where do I need to cut back in order to have the space I need to take care of myself? So, Heidi, I would recommend you can either find a naturopath or a functional medicine doc who can really work with you on the stress as well as what's going on in your body. And or you can find yourself a good therapist, somebody, maybe even somebody who specializes in mindfulness. As a matter of fact, there's a wonderful therapist I coached as part of the Speak, Write, and Promote. And I'm totally, because I'm on here, I can't think of her name and I know her name. I'm going to find it and I'm going to post. She's a really wonderful therapist who works via Skype. A wonderful, wonderful therapist who uses mind-body approaches to help people deal with stress and anxiety. And I really liked her a lot. And she's often on here, and I apologize that I'm completely spacing on your name because I just have too many names in my head. But I will post it as part of the resources here. And Heidi, check it out. When I'm done, give me a little bit of time when I'm done here for Facebook to upload this video, and then I'll go ahead and put the resources in. I would definitely be in touch with her, and I think that she might be able to really help you. Okay, let's see. Anne Marie, I just want you to know I got your email about Michael's reading. So my husband Michael, who is just so incredibly intuitive, joined us at the retreat on Saturday nights. He always does readings for people at random at the workshop, and I'm just blown away by how accurate and specific he is and how loving and healing he is. It's something that Michael has done ever since he's been doing it all his life, but he does it more formally now ever since he suffered a 4-year depression, a serious depression. He came out of that depression with a great ability to tap into the collective unconscious and bring in information for people that's helpful. And he did a reading for Anne Marie on Saturday night that was pretty amazing to me. I sat in the back of the room, blown away by it. But I want you to know, Anne Marie, I got the email from you, and I've shared it with Michael. And I'm also going to put your nephew in my prayer book. I know that he's not well, and I do think that's probably exactly what Michael was picking up on. And I've added him and you to my prayer book, and I really do send love and healing energy your way. All right, let's see. Natalie says, I'm trying to conceive at 44. I've had so many signs over the past year to try. I don't have children, and I'm very apprehensive, but I have this overwhelming knowing. Please put me in your prayer book. I need all the positive energy I can get. Has anyone conceived naturally at their age? Well, Natalie, I have a really good resource for you, sweetheart. And it's funny, I was just looking at it today because somebody returned this book that borrowed it from me. There was a great therapist named Niravi Payne, and I'll put her in the resource section. Niravi Payne, and she wrote a book called The Whole Person Fertility Program. She was like a baby whisperer. She was known for being able to work with couples who were labeled infertile, which she hated that term, and help them to conceive naturally, sometimes when the medical profession said that they couldn't. And she did it by looking at the family systems of both the mom and the dad, or both, the male and the female. And the fact that you say to me, I have this, you said, am very apprehensive, is a clue. So the Whole Person Fertility Program, you can find it on Amazon. I don't know if it's still in print, but you can usually find a used copy by Niravi Payne. It'll be in the resource section. Read that book cover to cover, Natalie. And I think it'll really not only help you, but provide you with the just with the comfort and the hope that you're looking for. And I would say if there's anybody listening who has conceived naturally over the age of 40, let's say, which Niravi never put limits on anything, and I don't either. I think souls are really powerful, and they're going to come here when they want to get here, regardless of how old you are. But if you have conceived over the age of 40, please post a comment here. And Natalie, be sure to go through the comments after we finish the Facebook Live so that I have really wonderful, loving, supportive people in my community who always help each other out. And I bet you any amount of money, you're going to find somebody, if not a few somebodies in this community who have conceived naturally over 40, and you're going to feel a lot better. Yeah, someone says, my cousin. So even if you have a family member who conceived over 44 or over 40, let's give Natalie some hope and some reason to hold the vision of her having a child if it's meant to be. All right. Let's see what else we have here for questions. Okay. I love how you all are talking to each other about things like sugar and, yeah, anything that converts, fruit juice is sugar in the body, so it raises blood sugar. Okay. On a budget, healthy eating. Cheryl, the good thing about being on a budget and healthy eating is there, and we were talking about this weekend, there are more and more resources for clean organic food, cheap. It's a couple things. Grow your own food. You'll be shocked at how easy it is. A pot outside someplace, plant some spinach, kale, or inside even, spinach, kale, chard. I have a whole pot of greens still going in my garden. Kale especially, you know, depending on where you live. I'm in the Northeast and I've still got the greens coming up. Tomatoes are just about gone by here. So growing your own food is like ridiculously cheap. Joining some kind of a co-op like a CSA for organic gardens in your area, also a really inexpensive way to get good, clean food. I also know of people who have connected with other friends who love gardening or love farming, and they have cooperative gardens where they grow food together. They grow vegetables together. I had a doctor, a functional medicine doctor about 15 or 20 years ago, a friend of mine who said to me, Cheryl, healthy eating is really simple. For the most part, protein and produce will do it every time. So when you think about protein and produce, support local farms. If you're someone who does eat meat, please make sure that the place where you get your meat is humane, and that you're getting cage-free, grass-fed, and look for local farms. And that's, and the other thing is you'd be surprised at how little we need to eat. I mean, we live in a country where people overdo everything, including eating. So sometimes it's really good to know to even meet with like a nutritionist or a well-educated trainer at your gym who can, or even you can go online to things like apps like MyFitnessPal and punch in your activity level, your weight, and see how many calories you're supposed to be eating a day, and make sure that that you're eating within those calories to stay healthy. And you might be surprised at how that can save your money as well. Thank you, Cheryl. Let's see. Yeah, Mary, honey. So honey, anything that elevates so any sweet, like drinking orange juice, elevates blood sugar. Honey elevates blood sugar. Agave elevates blood sugar. So it has the same effect as eating sugar. Now, if you eat a piece of fruit, you've got the fiber in the fruit, so it metabolizes different. So you're not getting that rush of blood sugar that then crashes. Yes, and I've responded to Becky. I know everybody was concerned about you, Becky. It's very sweet. Susan didn't mention the role of coffee and caffeine on the body, except that really obviously limiting or eliminating caffeine, especially if you want to sleep at night, was really important. We didn't really talk about coffee a lot. Neither one of us are coffee drinkers, so that's probably why. And for some reason, it didn't come up, which is really interesting. All right, let's see. I'm looking for your questions. I'm going to just take Yes, is caffeine bad for anxiety and depression? Caffeine is going to contribute to anxiety. Earlier today, I had gone out shopping, and I was on the run, and I picked up a bottle of this sort of clean iced tea, like lemon iced tea. I forget what the company name was. And I'm telling you, by the time I got half through the bottle, I could feel, because I'm not a coffee drinker and I don't really drink a lot of caffeine, I could feel the anxiety level, this sort of low-grade anxiety in my body from drinking the caffeine. So yes, caffeine increases anxiety. And often it's not uncommon for anxiety and depression to go together. So probably best to stay away from, to wean yourself off of it. Let's see. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Rob says, any advice for those like me who are what I call educated beyond their obedience? That's an interesting way of putting it. Just keep gathering, but never apply or launch information. Well, the good news is, Rob, you know that about yourself. That's good. And I understand there's some people who just have a strong need to know, and they enjoy gathering information. They enjoy amassing a lot of information. But then we become top heavy, and we don't end up making the changes in our life that we want to make. So I would encourage you to think about it this way, Rob. Think about it in terms of needing to build new muscles. And one of the new muscles is starting something, following it through, and completing it. So launching something based on what you know. So pick something you're already really educated about, something that you'd really like to do, you know, whatever it might be, and decide that you are now going to focus. It's going to be discipline. You're going to now focus your time and energy on training yourself to complete something. Instead of just gathering more information about it, decide that you have enough information to get started and take action every day in some small way, knowing that you're building this muscle of action taking. It's the only thing that changes your life, by the way, is taking action consistently. All the information in the world isn't going to change your life. It might be a great distraction. It might be great entertainment. It might make you really smart, but it's not going to make you happy if you're not making the changes you want to make. So good luck with that. I wish you all the best with that. Thoughts on turmeric? Yeah, really important. I take it every day. I think it's a great anti-inflammatory. And I think it's, we talked about that as well this weekend. Really, really helpful. All right, let's see. I'm going to do one more question, just sort of rolling through here. One more question, and then we're going to wrap up for today. Aura, I am going to put you in my prayer book for healing. And if you have a problem with swallowing, which is not uncommon, I would encourage you to use the tapping therapies. So let me just I'll put down the Tapping Solution website. Tapping can be great for issues with swallowing, issues with pill taking. And I'm also going to I'm putting you in my prayer book right now. You're in. You're in. Okay. Let's see. I don't have any plans to come to Belfast yet, but boy, I'm actually going to take a trip to Ireland in August. I'm going to take a trip with Brian Weiss. I'm really excited. We're all going, Michael and I and Brian and Carol and some friends of ours. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. You know what? Let's wrap up so I can get the resources to you on this post. Thank you, everybody, for spending this time with me. I so appreciate that you join me each week on Facebook Live. Make sure that you look at the blue button up above that says sign up. That gives you access to my weekly newsletter where I write a story every week and also let you know when the next Facebook Live will be. And this is my new book, which I know is backwards, Waking Up in Winter. It's coming out on December 19th. I'm really excited about it. And it's a memoir in journal form, and it's about searching for what really matters at midlife. And yet I've had some young people read it, and they tell me it's good for any age because it really gave them a head start. So anyway, thank you, everybody. I'll be posting the resources in just a little while, and I will look forward to seeing you here again next week. All right? Much love. Bye.